It's the NXT after TakeOver, so we got a bunch of dark matches and a bunch of rehash, don't we? Well, we do, but there's a lot of other stuff to talk about, so let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your June 20th NXT review. But the NXT review is actually not going to be much of this video. We're going to do, we're going to expand the house cleaning portion of the video. As you guys know, we did the pay-per-view pick 'em both for Money in the Bank and for TakeOver Chicago 2. Myself, Kristen, Guapo, those of you that participated, thank you for participating. Now, for those of you that are following along in the comment section on Twitter and on that video, you'll know that there is a friendly rivalry between one of my loyal viewers, Ms. Arc10, and one of my amazing co-hosts, Kristen, aka Black Cat Feline. There's a little friendly banter, a little friendly competition over the pay-per-view pick'em, which I find hilarious because there's literally nothing on the line other than me giving you a quick shout-out. So, first of all, for Money in the Bank, it's quite a wide range of scores, but here we go. Let's prove once again that Spaz sucks at his own game. But strifenineteen had 13, Mike S had 33, I had 37, Guapo had 38, Kristen had 41, proving actually on both nights that both of my co-hosts can beat me, which kind of sucks. Ms. Arc10 had 10, Ms. Arc10 had 47. And Melvin World Entertainment, thanks for joining us, had 50. A very, very dominating victory in the Money in the Bank pay-per-view pick'em. But it gets more interesting when TakeOver comes along, and unfortunately Melvin World Entertainment, you go down to the bottom with 13, strifenineteen with 15, Mike S with 16, myself with 17, proving once again that my co-hosts can beat me at my own game, and a three-way tie at 19 with Guapo, Kristen, and Ms. Arc10. Check out all your names down in the description box below, along with all the previous winners. I think this brings Kristen to 2 and Ms. Arc10 to 4. So as much as I would love to be biased, for my co-host, Ms. Arc10, you are destroying the 2018, it's late in the day, guys. The 2018 pay-per-view pick'em so far, Ms. Arc10, you are killing it. Now, quickly, UK stuff. Now, there's all the stuff, the UK tournament, how's that going to mesh with the new brand? How's that going to mesh with NXT being in the UK? There's a bunch of weirdness going on. What we do know is there's a 2-night event being televised on the WWE Network next week at 8 o'clock, competing with Raw and SmackDown, because WWE is smart. The first show, as far as I know, as far as it's laid out to me, because WWE have done a great job of making this a little convoluted, as far as I know, there are some qualifying matches on the first night as well as the tournament, and in the second night the winner of the tournament goes on to face Pete Dunne, as long as all the other NXT titles being defended. Now, I happen to know, not that I'm going to say it here for those of you that don't like spoilers, I happen to know what the UK title match is. I know what the NXT women's title match is, and it is fucking good. I know what the tag title match is, and it's interesting as well. Here's the deal, guys. As a little programming note, I don't think I'm going to be reviewing late in the day. Again, I gotta say it. I could edit this all out, but then it wouldn't be a Spaz video, would it? I will not be reviewing the tournament on day 1. I don't think I'll be around to do so. I'll catch the highlights, etc. All things being equal, I will come up here on Tuesday, if I'm able, to give you a proper rundown of what goes on night 2 on the NXT UK thing. Now, that being said, the one thing that has been spoiled for virtually everybody is Triple H and Johnny Saint in the UK announcing the beginning of the NXT UK brand. Which is good, because if they're going to do a proper show over in the UK, they can't just call it because every UK thing they've done so far has been called the UK Championship Tournament. Now, that's not the name of a weekly show. If we get to the point, I plan on this because I gave up on 205 Live. I just did. I haven't reviewed Raw or SmackDown in a dog's age. If it comes to a point where NXT UK is a separate weekly television show, I will be reviewing it like I review NXT. they're not being very clear on that right now. They've established that it's a brand. They've established that the tapings have started, but they haven't established whether it's going to be a weekly show, when it's going to be, etc. When I have that information, I'll give you guys further programming notes. But for right now, if it becomes an annual weekly show like NXT, I will be reviewing NXT UK. I will be reviewing day 2 of this NXT UK brand NXT title extravaganza next week on Tuesday. All things being equal, and you know, even if I'm not able to, we will touch on it in the Wednesday NXT review. Speaking of things that are not happening, I did mean to do an installment of Aftermath with Kristen and Guapo, just talking about the aftermath, pun intended, of Money in the Bank weekend. Unfortunately, schedules do not work. That will not be happening this time around. The next episode of Aftermath presumably will be the week following SummerSlam. What else? Lots of programming notes, Oh, immediate last video is the June / pre-Money in the Bank / post-Money in the Bank edition of Ask the Phoenix. Please go back, check that out, share it with your friends if they want to participate in that. Typical drill for a Q&A. If you want your questions to be inserted in the next Q&A, put them in the comment section of that Q&A. I do believe that's all the announcements. If it's your first time watching me, go up to the annotation up above. Check out my playlists for Aftermath, for Off the Cuff, for NXT, for the brief period of time that I was reviewing 205 Live, and I'm sure there will be a separate playlist for NXT UK shortly. Switching gears, the quick passing of Vader was announced. I don't know whether it was announced last night or today. Leon White, who was, I'm not a doctor, I'm not even going to play one on TV here, had a lot of health issues, had a lot of things that he was facing, and I did a terrible job of keeping up with what was going on with that, to be perfectly honest with you, because this, as you guys know, this isn't a news channel at the best of times, but from what I hear, he was enthusiastic about being involved with people, involved with some younger people in the business, you know, interacting with people online, etc. It sucks. I mean, he was suffering for a long time, so there's that element of, you know, he's not, as a fellow human being, he's not suffering anymore, but it sucks when we lose one, because, you know, there's that element of we lose people in threes. Some rapper dude that I have no idea who he is, apparently died over the weekend, and then we've got Vader here. Everybody's saying, well, who's the third one going to be? And I kind of want to tell them to fuck off, because maybe 2 is enough. Maybe 2 is too many. WWE, quick on the ticket, did the little 10-second, you know, still photo of Vader at the beginning of this show, you know, RIP and all that. But then they did a graphic runner across the bottom, and that's how they made their announcement of what had actually happened. And I don't blame WWE, because they need to address it. They need to, you know, pay the appropriate respects, but you're reading this runner on the bottom of the television screen while the highlights from TakeOver are playing. So you got all this happy, upbeat, intense entertainment going on while you're reading about somebody dying, and it went right into the entrance, or into the introduction of the show. And that, I know WWE had the best intentions in there, because they do. There are certain things that WWE does right, and when somebody passes away, they do take the time to show them the proper respect. And I know that this was pre-taped, so they couldn't have everybody out on the stage, because they were out on the stage this past Saturday. They did the best they could with what they got. I think what they did was a bit of a miss. I'm sure they will do something next week on Raw with all the people out on the stage and the 10 bells and all that, which I really love. I love that wrestling has its own thing for remembering former entertainers, former brothers and sisters of the ring type thing. But just to have the runner going while other stuff was on the TV was a bit jarring, and it felt a bit wrong. But again, I don't think there's any ill intent by WWE on that one. We got the big show feel, because it is the episode of NXT that is filmed before a takeover, which is nice. The big stadium feel, it does feel different. I do like the transition that NXT goes from, you know, the yellow and gold and black of the weekly show to the pure black, white, and gray of TakeOver. I do think it's a really nice touch. To still have the black ring, it does make a difference. Anybody that saw the debut of Sanity on SmackDown this week, it's it's bizarre how much fighting on a black ring changes the way everything looks. And I think it's low-key, I think it's one of the key elements of the appearance and the presentation of NXT, and I think it's a really good thing. I think not that the main roster should think about doing it, because now you're just trying to be NXT, but I think the main roster needs to think about something like that. The first match of the night was one that was set up last week. Dakota Kai, Bianca Belair talking some shit in the back. Bianca Belair is a heel. She's the bitchy heel. You know, everybody should be taking a look at what I do. Why are you wasting your time with Dakota Kai? She's not great on the mic, and that's fine. NXT is developmental. I'm not saying it makes her a bad person. She's still athletic as hell in the ring, and I got to run it down once again. Even though she's a great wrestler, I still don't like the gimmick. I still don't like the hair whip. I still don't like the EST, STD of NXT thing. But be that as it may, and this is something that's going to happen one more time tonight. Pulling for Dakota Kai, I'm sort of iffy on Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair looked like fucking gold in this match, though. To be fair, Dakota Kai kind of got her ass kicked in this match, to be fair. But, I mean, she's the underdog, the pure underdog, the pure Daniel Bryan, Johnny Gargano, Bayley done properly. I've said that week after week after week on end. And Bianca Belair played the perfect counteract to that. They were yin and yang and every other metaphor you can possibly come up with. But pie face by Belair to start, and a beautiful dropkick by Dakota Kai. Corner roll up by Kai, a trip and a running kick to the sternum. Dakota Kai, with that running kick to the sternum, I felt it while I was watching it on my television, which is kind of bad. Running splash by Belair and an abdominal stretch. Pump handle backbreaker by Belair, who immediately follows it up with working the back, pounding and kicking and stomping and elbows and forearms and the whole bit. Takedown by Belair, a splash and a... Can't read my writing. I am sorry. A takedown by Belair and a splash that is blocked by Dakota Kai's knees. Snake eyes by Kai. Enziguri in a series of kicks because apparently she's part of Team Kick. Dakota Kai's haluva kick is better than Sami Zayn's. And we got two of those. Belair misses the hair whip and responds again with a forearm. I'm going to get to that in a second. Torture rack into the inverted AA gets the win for Bianca Belair. I have no problem with this. Bianca Belair, like I say, is great in the ring. I hope they do with that last little spot right before the torture rack slam thing that she does. She had the thing where she went for the hair whip and she missed and she's like, "Aw shit," and just hit her with a forearm. If that happens a couple more times and she just has this slow realization of, why am I doing this chintzy gimmick? Why don't I just punch somebody in the face? I think that would be fucking brilliant. I really do. Because the hair whip thing, it's just annoying. And I said it the last time, I believe it was either last week or the week before. I said it, if you watch the match, you can tell there's certain points in the match where I think she's getting sick of it. If I don't remember who it's against. There's a match against Rey Mysterio ages and ages and ages ago, and he has a problem with his mask, or the mask doesn't clasp properly, and he literally fights with his... I think it's a match with Eddie Guerrero, actually, so it's ages ago. But somebody down in the box below will be able to tell me what match I'm talking about. But he basically spends the entire match fiddling with his mask, and it takes away the effect from any selling that he's doing, takes away the effect of any emotion that he's trying to put out there, because he's just basically playing with his face, and you can tell it frustrates him. And I think you're starting to see that from Bianca Belair. She's got this cool, neat little thing that's marketable and it's a gimmick and whatever, but I think as far as actually being able to perform in the ring, which she can do quite well. I hate the gimmick, but I love watching her in the ring. This is where we're coming to. It's going to be another Andrade Cien Almas situation, I'll bet. I think she's getting sick of it, and if she, like I say, if she goes through that little story arch of, hey, I don't have to do these chintzy gimmicky things, I can just punch somebody in the face, I've got scary abs for days, and I can throw them across the ring, I think it would be great, because then you go and she fucking cuts her hair and does whatever she needs to do. In the first of many highlight packages, we see the highlight package for Dream versus Ricochet. And how the fuck insane was this? Velveteen Dream coming out as Hulk Hogan was interesting, but low-key, somebody pointed it out to me. It might have been Guapo, because Guapo is one of my references for Lucha Underground, which I don't watch. That is apparently also the mock-up of the pants that he wore when Ricochet was Prince Puma, which I've never seen, because as I say, I don't watch Lucha Underground, but I have seen a side-by-side shot of the two, and that's a good little thing. on the surface, for the casual fans, hey, look, Velveteen Dream's gimmick this pay-per-view is that he came out as Hulk Hogan. For the indie fans that know, it's a nice little nod to them, too. And they didn't beat it over the head. So if you knew, you knew. If you didn't know, it was just another cool thing, which is fine. They have interviews with both of them in the back. The rolling Death Valley slam that he does, especially off the top rope, is fucking insane, isn't it? Interviews in the back with Ricochet saying, I'm here to prove that I'm not just a GIF that you're going to find on Twitter. I'm going to be the one taking the spotlight because the spotlight is reserved for the one and only. Velveteen Dream is sort of distraught in the back, and they asked him how he's doing, and he says, well, I said the dream was going to be over in Chicago. What do you think that means? So maybe hinting at a character change for Velveteen Dream. Either he's just going to get more super aggressive and destroy somebody, or we might see a change. It's weird, and I didn't think about it until the match on this past Saturday, when you see the flashbacks to him in, what was it, Tough Enough, where he's just regular Patrick Clark without the gimmick, and you almost don't recognize him because he's so in that Velveteen Dream mindset, I guess you could say. I don't know. I still have my issues with the gimmick. It still does feel like a mix of Michael Jackson, Prince, and early days Goldust. It doesn't... It's amazing. How deep he is in the gimmick is amazing. Whether I like the gimmick or not aside, how deep he is in the gimmick is fucking phenomenal. My hat's off to him. But it does feel a little... We've pulled a little bit from here and a little bit from here, and we've made this soup of things you guys are already kind of... It's like the Shinsuke Nakamura thing. Shinsuke Nakamura and his whole aura, that rhymed, is awesome, but you can't help but look at it and be like, okay, he's Japanese Michael Jackson. It's kind of like... for those of you that watch Disney movies, you know, they did the remake of The Jungle Book, which I thought was fantastic. The rest of them I haven't watched, but they remade a human version of Beauty and the Beast. They're doing a human, or a real-life version of The Lion King. They're doing a real-life version of The Little Mermaid, apparently, which is going to be directed by horror directors, which I find really interesting. Tim Burton is doing his own real-life version of Dumbo, and I'm sure all of those movies in their own way are going to be fantastic. But does it not seem like a pattern of laziness just a little bit? I know that's a big tangent to go on, but look at the Velveteen, to pull a little bit from Prince, who's passed away, from Michael Jackson, who's just passed away, from Goldust, who is, you know, far past the twilight of his in-ring career years. There's a little bit missing, but at the same time, I can put that aside and say, look, this guy is 110% in his gimmick. He is turned on. He is charged in to that gimmick, and it is fantastic. Can't take anything away from him. But it was very jarring to see those flashbacks of him just being regular old Patrick Clark in Tough Enough, because it's like, eh. Highlights from Baszler versus Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross, I fucking love Nikki Cross, if you guys aren't already fully aware. And it provided a great dynamic, because it didn't take anything away from Shayna Baszler. It really didn't. She is the Brock Lesnar of NXT. She's going to go in there, she's going to destroy people, she's going to scare people, and she's going to hurt people. Now, how does that work when somebody doesn't know what scared is and enjoys the pain? The sight of Nikki Cross smiling as she chokes out in the Karafuda clutch was fucking phenomenal. I'm going to go back to another old school one. Mankind versus Ken Shamrock. I think it was in a cage. I think there might have been another person in the match. But the story they told was Mankind would not tap out to the ankle lock. And he didn't tap out to the ankle lock. He got trapped in the ankle lock, and he put the mandible claw on himself. So when he was announced as the winner, or sorry, when he was announced as the loser, he lost by submission to his own move, not the ankle lock. That's how much he was determined to not. Nikki Cross getting the shit kicked out of her and legitimately selling that she loved every minute of it, and then smiling as she got choked out, was one of the best things I've seen this year. Baszler in the back cut a promo that unfortunately I had already seen on YouTube a couple days beforehand, and it was pretty... She's She's back there with, I'm going to butcher their names, but Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke, the other two of the 4 horsewomen of UFC. I guess they're all going through developmental and sort of waving at Ronda from the sidelines. That's a thing. You know, everybody's asking me how I'm going to defeat Chaos. I'm just going to suck the life out of it. And then she does the end still thing. I do have to say, on Twitter, I am obnoxious with hashtags. I'm obnoxious with a lot of things on Twitter, like the Naomi fans, etc. But I am obnoxious with hashtags. And I do love the hashtag and still hashtag and new. It doesn't work as an actual verbal part of your promo, I don't think. You can say, I'm still the champion, or, you know, I'm still the best, but just to end the promo with "and still" and walk away is sort of a, hey, I'm on Twitter, you fans are on Twitter, hey. It doesn't quite work. The rest of the promo was short, sweet, to the point, just like her promos should be, and it was all good. Highlights from Black versus Sullivan, and I won't take anything away from this match. I really won't. Sullivan played what I've been saying all along. He played the Big Show role. He played it really well. He played it the same way anybody that ever went up against the Big Show should do. You know, Aleister Black, super confident. He's come up against this boulder that he can't destroy. He busts his nose open. He does this, he does that. Comes out on the winning end. He's gone over the hump, and now he's got to worry about his next challenger, which, if rumor is to be believed, is Tommaso Ciampa, which is very interesting. I mean, it is what it is. It's just it falls prey to the fact that I think every other match on the show was better, and it is the main title. The main title should be somewhere near the top of the card, so the fact that, to me, this match was on the bottom of the card, and it was for the main title, means it shouldn't have been on the card, or it shouldn't have been this, unfortunately. Aleister Black, to his credit, selling the beatdown from Lars Sullivan in the back, tries to be interviewed, and he just looked the guy right in the face and says, look, I can't talk right now. And he does a pretty good limp job away from the camera. And they linger at the limping champion going down the hallway and away from the camera, etc. The tag titles. Holy fuck. The tag title match. I never thought that Undisputed Era was going to lose. And I think I said as much in the preview. But Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch. If you want to talk about being a big fan of this team, go check out my buddy Okayfabe, who's from the area where Oney Lorcan is from, which is, I think, Boston, Mass. Danny Burch, obviously, we know originally from the UK tournament. This was a team that they sort of like soft put together and then took apart, and then soft put them together again and took them apart, and this time they did it and they actually sent them out, and the 4 of these guys went and kicked the ever-loving shit out of each other, and fair play to Undisputed Era, because Adam Cole, yeah, Michael Cole, baby! Adam Cole was out back of the ring, and he only interfered once. He only interfered once to pull somebody off a pin one time, and then he was thrown out. But the rest of it was a pretty straight-up match, and the 4 of these guys kicked the living shit out of each other. Not only did they kick the living shit out of each other, but the losers, Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch, got a standing or what amounts to a standing ovation after the match was over. Long after Undisputed Era had left the ring and the 2 of them were just kind of left sitting there, they got the respect they deserved from the crowd, which is, these guys looked fucking phenomenal in defeat, and this was huge for them, and the sympathy that they got after the match, you could argue, was better than what they would have gotten if they had won. Then we get the highlights for, we see an interview in the back with the 2 of them, and they're just, on the one hand, they're proud, it's their first takeover, they're disappointed, they left it all out in the ring, this isn't the end for us, you're going to see us again, rah-de-rah-de-rah. Highlights for Gargano Ciampa. What can we say about the story of this match? In the ring, out of the ring, Johnny Gargano, reuniting with his wife bringing him the crutch, saying, okay, get out there and kick his ass because, you need to and whatever. Coming out with the broken crutch that we've seen forever. Ciampa coming out with a brand new crutch, them having the little sword fight with the crutch, brawling in the crowd, brawling back in, the spot off the hydro boxes at the top, the spitting on the wedding ring and tossing the wedding ring away, Johnny Gargano flattening him through a table. Johnny Gargano going that extra steps, you know, becoming what he hates, becoming the violent guy, and I'll tell you, there's a lot of other spots in this. There's the big hardcore match spots in this that I could talk about for days. Like I say, the spots off of this and that, and the falls in and out of the ring, and all that. What I will say, comically, it almost resembles, you know, Daniel Bryan setting up for the Daniel Bryan silly kicks type thing. But when he sets Ciampa, the thing that will resonate with this match for me is when he has him on his knees, and he's got him handcuffed behind his back, and he sets him up like Daniel Bryan would for the Daniel Bryan silly kicks, except it's not. It's just straight boot to the face, straight boot to the face, straight boot to the face, straight boot to the face. And it's just, it's not the most violent thing in the match. It's really not, because they do some fucking wacky shit in this match. But it is anybody that's seen the match, put it down in the box below, tell me if you think I'm totally crazy. That is the moment where he's handcuffed and he's just getting those straight, unprotected boots to the face. That's the point in the match that sticks out to me. And it tells a great story, and it tells the story of Gargano getting so close to Retribution and basically slipping on a banana peel and losing the match with that DDT on the ring boards. And fucking fantastic. There was no interviews after this. There just wasn't. But the highlights of this were great. The guy, and the camera actually focused on the guy when they first get into the crowd the first time, and there's a guy near the front row who's almost in Ciampa's face telling him he's the devil, is fucking great. The planted fan, and it is a planted fan, let's be real, with the Gargano sign that has the stop sign in it. That's all good. It all just represents the legit cult following that Johnny Gargano has. I can't say enough. Go from that intensity to a quick behind-the-scenes EC3 promo. He's talking. They're doing one of the fake press conferences. He says, you know, the takeovers have everything. What can I say? They're great, but they didn't have the 1%, and I promise that I'm going to be at 100% of takeovers going forward. And he storms into Regal's office, and one of the interview guys says, who do you want? Who are you going to ask for? Who do you want to fight? And he doesn't even look back at the camera. As he's entering Regal's office, he just shouts, everybody. And I think that's fucking great. It's almost not a heel answer, which I think is good, because I think as cocky as EC3 is, and I know WWE won't do this with The Miz because he's too good of a heel, and EC3 is in that ilk, but as cocky as EC3 is, I think because of how genuinely good he is and how much people like him, you could make him an asshole babyface on a dime and it would work. Anyways, main event, and only second match of the night, was the War Raiders versus the Mighty. And see, I can't call them TM, nobody gives a fuck, because they're trying to repackage them, I guess. I will give credit for trying, as cocky as that sounds. They are the Mighty, they're no longer TM61. The whole initials thing, HBK, JBL, 619... eventually we have to get away from that. TM61, either they need to have an open moment where that name actually means something to the general population. I know there's people out there that know what it means. It's like the Australia area code or something, and we're the Mighty guys from Australia. But as far as just general public acceptance of the thing, just calling them the Mighty works. They've changed up their look a little bit. They got the black and silver long tights as opposed to the super generic, almost fruity pebble colored friggin' gimmicks that they had before. They're not coming to the ring in the friggin' jerseys anymore that look like they came from gym class, so that's a plus. They've gone with the big coats and whatever, and that's how they start the match. They use the jackets as a fake out to the friggin' War Raiders, toss the jackets at them, get a couple of cheap shots in, but Rowe recovers, bicycle kick to Thorne and a collar suplex to Miller, corner splash by Hansen and a double splash by the War Raiders in the ring once again, where Rowe picks up Hansen and basically throws him at their opponent in the corner, who's, you know, already sort of slumped. Cheap shot and a roll-up attempt by Thorne, good for him, followed by a high knee, running knee by Thorne, and a double-team neckbreaker by The Mighty. I can't say that name and not laugh, I'm sorry. Back elbow by Rowe, corner drop kick by Thorne, back drop by Hanson, side slam, splash, lariat, one after the other, after the other, after the other, and then as terrifying as it sounds, suicide dive by Hanson. Jesus Christ, I want to see... Just because I'm not entirely in decision of which is more terrifying. I want to see Hanson and Killian Dane doing a suicide dive side by side. Then I'll decide which one's more terrifying. High knee by Rowe and that suplex leg drop combination that they do, which is apparently called the Fallout. Again, if I'm wrong, somebody tell me down in the box below. War Raiders win. War Raiders are going to get a shot at the tag team champions eventually, I would hope. It'd be good. I don't know. We have to sort of start shuffling around and getting new contenders and whatever. Sure, the Undisputed Era are the tag team champions. I'll just say that. So, yeah, there was a lot of nothing on this show, but a lot of other shit that I just needed a chance to talk to you guys about. That's why I did this review. I wanted to tell you what was coming up on the channel. I wanted to, you know, obviously address the Vader thing, because that sucks like it does. You know, we're going to do the UK stuff next week. Like I say, probably not doing the first one. Definitely going to try and do the second one, just because from the little bit that I've heard so far, the title matches that we're going to see on night 2 are fucking fantastic, and matches that I'm really excited to talk about. I do know that apparently British Strong Style take on the Undisputed Era as a 3-on-3. I don't know whether that's the first or the second night. If that happens on the first night, I will include it in my conversation about the second night. Does that sound fair? I just, as much as I want to, I don't know how well I will review the tournament, because the tournament consists of a whole fuckload of people that I don't know. And yeah, we got the Mae Young Classic 2 coming up. There's the rumors of the Cruiserweight Classic coming back once again. I will definitely review those week to week, but when they jam it all into one night, it's not conducive to reviewing. It's a whole night of people that I don't know, and it's really hard for me to give you guys a decent opinion on that. Second night, we're going to have the champions that we know, we're going to have the titles that we know, we're going to have some challengers that we know. Maybe, maybe not, I don't know. But yeah, and then, like I say, there's all the rumors and rumor and innuendo about the NXT UK brand, and we'll see where that goes from there. But for now, I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I will talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys. Don't